Guys, welcome to the live again. My name is Blessing. It's nice to have you here. I just wanted to come on live and talk about something quickly. Like the topic says, turn your pain to fuel. I've noticed that many of the times that I got up, went outside of my comfort zone, and did something meaningful, I did something that I consider life changing, I did something that I consider different from everything that I used to do. It was because I felt some sort of pain or I felt some sort of discomfort. There's something that I tell people that a lot of motivation comes from poverty, comes from betrayal, comes from hurt, comes from pain. A lot of motivation comes from that. Why would you ordinarily just sit down and decide to do things that would move your life forward? Most oftentimes it's because of something that you have encountered that has made you feel like, okay, I need to change my life, I need to change what I'm doing, I need to fix up. If you've noticed, a lot of people after breakups, either men, either women, after they break up with their spouse, their whoever it is that they're dating, you notice that women glow up more. Either they start going to the gym, they start taking care of their skin, they start eating right. They just basically change. Why? It's not necessarily that their partner was a bad person. It's most likely because they are going through a difficult time, and when you go through difficult times, you either react positively or you react negatively, right? So where I'm heading to is the people that react negatively when they experience things that are not comfortable for them, when they encounter uncomfortable emotions or uncomfortable situations. Okay, you can either use your situations to your benefit or let your situations overpower you and overcome you, right? Like I said earlier, I noticed for myself that whenever I moved out of my comfort zone, whenever I did something different, whenever I, made choices that made me grow, it was because I encountered uncomfortable feelings. Either I was, I felt depressed, I felt sad, I felt angry, I felt like, I can no longer remain in the same position because of how I was feeling or because of what I was going through or what I went through. I just felt like something needed to change. Okay. So that needed to happen because if those things don't happen, you remain on the same spot. You don't see a reason to move forward. You don't see a reason to do something different because you are comfortable where you are. So when challenges come, when uncomfortable situations arise, when someone betrays you, okay, when you lose all your money, you run into bad business, when you encounter certain things, those things don't come to destroy you. Okay, most oftentimes they are stepping stones into the next level. Most oftentimes they come to make you uncomfortable because now you have to move forward. And for you to move forward, for you to decide to grow, for you to decide to leave your comfort zone, you have to be uncomfortable. Something needs to shake you up for you to make that life changing decision. And it's true. Just think about it. All the times that you have made serious life changing decisions, something needed to happen for you to feel like, okay, I can no longer remain in this place. I can no longer, remain in this spot. I can no longer continue with this job. I can no longer continue with this relationship. I can no longer continue with this environment. I need new friends. Okay, I need to start a business. I need to scale my business. I need to do something different. Something must have happened, something negative most times for you to feel like, okay, I need to move on. I need to leave. I need to, make decisions that will better my life. Okay, you can't just wake up and decide that you want a better life when you are comfortable. If you are comfortable on the spot that you are, most often times if people are comfortable, they don't see a reason to move ahead to something better. They don't feel a need to, try something new because they are comfortable where you are. So life has to make you uncomfortable so that you can take the next step that is going to launch you into fulfilling destiny. Now, if you have noticed, people who come from poverty, like people who are very poor, that is a strong motivation for them to make a lot of money, right? If I don't know the entire statistics, but based on what I know, people that come from average homes don't do so well financially like people that come from, below average homes, right? They don't do so well like people that come from poor homes. Why? Because poverty is a great motivator as opposed to having an average family, as opposed to coming from an average family, right? If you come from an average family, you might not see the need to make a lot of money because you are comfortable on the average. But from people from poor homes, they mostly make, they have the zeal to go ahead and make a lot of money, because poverty is a great motivator. I have a comment here from, I'm so sorry if I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Khan Khan Rajput. Okay, he says, hi, how are you doing? Thank you for joining the live. I hope that you are learning something. If you have questions, if you have contributions, you can just drop them in the comment section, and I would be, responding to your comments, your contributions, and your questions. Again, so things like poverty, depression, breakups, right, they really motivate us to do better. Now, your pain can be a fuel for you, or your pain can be the thing that drives you towards the edge. All depends on you. Like I've said before, perspective in life matters a lot, because your perspective is going to determine the decisions that you're going to make, the things that you're going to do, choices that you're going to make, decisions you're going to make, right? So your perspective matters a lot. Now, if you are going through a difficult time, you either let the difficult time overwhelm you, overpower you, swallow you up, or you make a choice to come out of that difficult time and be a better version of yourself, right? And so most often time, the choice, the decision, it lies in your hands. Are you going to let the situation overwhelm you, overpower you, or are you going to decide to be better? Are you going to decide to come out of this situation more stronger, more better? And don't forget that you don't always have to prove a point to anybody. You don't always have to, prove to anybody that you're doing better than you were doing yesterday, or prove to anybody that you have overcome a particular season in your life. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to, show anything to anybody. You don't owe anybody any explanation. So do what you have to do, because you want to, and because this is better to your life, because it's more beneficial to you. Don't do it because you're trying to prove a point to anybody, because if you do things because you're trying to prove a point, you might most likely make a mistake along the way. Actually, you will. But if you do it because you want a better life, if you do it because you owe something to your younger self, if you do it because you're working towards your goals, you're trying to achieve something, it will turn out so much more better than if you are doing it to, I don't know, to pepper anybody, to stunt on anybody, to, just to prove a point to anybody. I mean, it's not necessary. But we are all in different stages of our life. We all see things differently. But from my perspective, when you do things, when you make life breaking decisions, don't do it because you're trying to, stunt on anybody. Just do it because that's the best thing for you. Hi again, Fitz. Welcome to the live. It's always nice to see you. I hope you had a great day. Today is Tuesday, so I hope you had a great day. I hope work was nice. I hope you are doing well, basically. So still on the topic of turning pain to fuel. When you go through hard times, they are meant to motivate you to do better. Okay, they are supposed to be your fuel for you to decide that, okay, this thing that's happened to me, this is going to, push me into my next level. This is going to motivate me to be a better person. This is going to motivate me to do better. When people talk down on you, maybe because you don't have money, it's supposed to motivate you to do the best that you can in order to make more money. It's not supposed to make you feel depressed or feel sad. You can feel depressed, you can feel sad, but don't forget to, also have it at the back of your mind that you need to make more money, so people won't, mock you for not having the kind of money that you should have. But at least instead of begging, instead of borrowing, you can be able to sort out basic needs for yourself. When people mock you because, or they laugh at you because you're not the brightest person, it should not make you sad, it should not make you depressed. All you have to do is, work on yourself, try to be smarter than you are. Okay, most often times when people talk down on you, you should see that as motivation to be the better version of yourself. Okay, not because you want to come back to those people and for them to see like, okay, you have improved, you have changed. No, but just because you want to be the best person that you can be. You want to look the best, you want to, think the best way, you want to show up as your best self, you want to, just be the best basically in any area, any career, any field that you find yourself. Not because you want to like be better than anybody, but just because you always want to improve yourself, you always want to grow, better than you were. So it doesn't matter what you have been through. Whatever it is that you have been through should be the motivation for you to work harder. It should be the motivation for you to, do better. Okay, I've also been through my fair share of challenging times, but those things did not break me. Those things, even though I was sad in the moment, but I also recognize that that's not the end of the world. Okay, and it could get better. Okay, it's left for me to work harder. It's left for me to, do better whatever it is that I'm doing, and definitely the future is bright. As long as you keep showing up, you keep doing your best, your life will definitely get better than what it used to be or how it used to be. So at the end of the day, the ball is in your court. Okay, the choice is in your hand. Whatever it is that's happened to you, are you going to let it break you down? Are you going to let it, make you sad, make you miserable, turn you into a bitter and terrible person? Or are you going to use it into a ladder to be your best self? Are you going to use it to be a ladder for you, to get to the next level? If you listen to most motivate, that's why I said, like, people who have never been through any traumatic thing in life, people who have never been through any sad thing, like no one has talked down on them or anything, I feel like they're missing out a bit, because there's a kind of motivation that you can only get when people do you bad. That's the truth. There's the kind of motivation that you can only get from life circumstances. So for people who have always had like a rosy life, they are missing out on that specific type of motivation. Okay, nothing else can replicate, because the pain that you feel from inside, it's not a pain that can be taught. It's not a pain that can be learned. It's not a pain that you can get from anywhere else. But it's a pain that you feel deep inside of you, and you decide that, okay, I'm going to do better. I'm not going to remain on the same spot. Or you decide that, okay, I have to leave this environment. Or you decide that, okay, I won't communicate with this person anymore because they are toxic for me. Okay. So it's something that you have to feel inside of you before you can make that decision. If you listen to most motivational speakers, most people who have really made it in life, they talk about a lot of the things that they went through. And one thing you should know is that those terrible things that they went through are the things that they had as motivation for them to get to where they are today. Some of them came from broken homes, some of them came from really poor backgrounds, some of them were looked down on, and so many bad things. But those things were the things that mainly they were like fuel for them. Okay, it's like a car. They were like the fuel that you put inside the car, that every day they wake up and they remember, where they're coming from. They remember what they have experienced. They know that, I need to get up early. I need to get to work early. I need to work every day because I know what it's like for me not to have money. So I cannot afford to not do the work that brings money. Okay, nobody needs to remind you, wake up and go to work, because you know what happens if you don't work. You know what happens if you don't have money in your account. So nobody needs to remind you, are you not going to work today? You know you're supposed to go to work because you know the consequence of not making money. So that's how it is. There are certain things that nobody can teach you. You can only learn from experience. If you know the consequence of not doing a certain thing, if you know the consequence of not making it in life, then you will definitely know every day that I have to do the best that I can so I can make it in life, because I know what happens if I don't make it. I've seen people around me that never made it. I've seen people that are 60 years old still begging for food. So I know that I cannot afford to be in that position. So I know that I have to wake up every day and do the best that I can be. It doesn't matter who is looking down on me right now, because I know where I'm headed. I know why I'm doing the things that I'm doing. It doesn't matter who calls me names, okay? It doesn't matter who is treating me. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. All that I know is that I have a goal in mind, I have a vision in mind, I know where I'm headed, and I need to stay on course. I cannot afford to be distracted. I cannot afford to be carried away at this moment. I cannot afford to be too emotional. I cannot afford to let little things get to me, because then they will derail me. Then they will, take me out of what I'm focused on. So I don't have time for all of that right now. I have to, keep the vision. I have to keep my eyes on the goal because I know where I'm headed. Because if I don't achieve that goal, I know what happens. If I don't achieve that goal, I know how bad it can get. Okay, I know that if I don't achieve that goal, I might need to go back to where I'm coming from. And I don't want to go back to where I'm coming from. So I need to achieve this goal. I need to do this. When I wake up in the morning, I need to, when I have things that are outlined, and I cannot give this time to anything else, because these times are located for my dreams. These times are located for me to work on the vision that I have. So I cannot give this time to other things right now. So your pain should be your fuel. Your pain should not be something that should make you very sad or very. You can get sad when you think about it. Like, we are all human beings. So when you think about bad things that have happened to you, when you think about like friends that you had but they were not there for you, there are certain friends that I had when things were rosy. That the moment things were not rosy anymore, I realized that these people are not really my friends. So Drink, like, I feel like that happens to everybody. If you make friends in the good times, you cannot really tell whether this person is really your friend or not, because things are going well. But just wait until things go bad. Just wait until you don't have money anymore. Just wait until you're no longer looking fine or beautiful. Just wait until people are no longer hailing you or people don't like. Just wait till that time comes. That's when you really know the friends that have your back or not. So it can be really hurtful when you realize that the friends that you thought they were your ride or die, or they were always going to be there for you, it can be really hurtful to realize that they don't have your back anymore. It can be painful, but that should not mean you would no longer have friends. It just means that, when the next time you are making friends, you'll be more cautious. The next time you are making friends, you would know how to think better when choosing friends. You will know the criteria that you're using to vet your friends. Okay, like not just anybody can be your friend, because everybody does not mean well for you. So it just teaches you how to pick your friends wisely. And it also teaches you that sometimes you are a one man army. You cannot always rely on people. The only person you can rely on is God. People are not always going to have your back. If you're lucky and blessed enough to have good friends that are always there for you 24/7, or every anytime that you need help, or when you call upon them, like, you are blessed, right? But everybody is not going to have that kind of friends. So if you don't have that kind of friends, you just know that you are a one man army. You need to have your own back, right? So you need to put yourself first. Like, in that situation, you would need to put yourself first, because if you don't, you know that help is not coming from anywhere. You know that nobody else is going to support you. So you always have to think about yourself. Okay, like, when you're planning, when you're budgeting, like whatever it is that you're doing, you have to consider yourself, and have to, like, think about the future, like the plans and the actions that you do today. How do they affect you in the future? Like, what are the consequences of this action? So you cannot just do things without thinking about them. Okay, if you know that you don't have anybody to rely on, then you have to be self-sufficient. So if you're making certain decisions, you have to think about the consequences. For example, if you know that you don't have anywhere to borrow money from, whenever you're spending money, you have to be more cautious of how you're spending money, how you're using your finances. Because if this money that you have now, if it's to finish, you know that you don't have savings and you don't have anybody to call. So you have to be wiser in how you spend your money. So basically, that's it for this topic. Learning to turn your pain into fuel, learning to turn the bad situations, the bad things that happen to you, into motivations. Those things don't happen to break you down. They don't happen to, like, bring you down. They don't happen to end your life, but instead they happen to give you, like, a stepping stone, like a ladder into the next level. That's basically why bad things happen. Because if we are too comfortable most times, we don't see a reason to move forward. We don't see a reason to, do better things. We don't see any reason to do bigger things. So that's why we get uncomfortable. So you can leave your comfort zone. So you can think about new ideas. You know that if something bad happens to you, or if people around you are not treating you well, you tend to have more ideas about the things that you should do, more ideas about how to improve your life, basically. So that's all for this topic. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for joining in. I hope you learned a thing or two, and I will see you in the next live. Bye.